Hey guys, how's it going? This is Will. I'm doing my live draw. I was supposed to do yesterday, ended up started doing it today. So I'm just gonna go and get started in it. As I see your guys' messages and everything, I will definitely make sure to reach out and comment. So we're gonna start off with the basics and build our skeleton for our uh, our great intellectual mind, and that would be Mr. Fantastic, who was born into the world as Mr. Reed Richards. And Reed Richards was a smart, kind of geeky guy, and he ended up going into space along with his then girlfriend, I believe, Sue Storm, her brother Johnny, and his friend Ben Grimm. And when eventually they got to the place where they were in space, they got exposed to the radioactive waves and such. And when they got exposed, they each got different powers. And of course, one of those people that got affected was Reed, and Reed was very much the recipient of a very interesting set of powers. He became in massive ways, and not only stretch his body out in ways, but also at times he could protect people. He could go in and do different things, and one of the things I thought was interesting about Mr. Fantastic was they definitely didn't make him without his own flaws. I mean, he was kind of one of those people. He was so intelligent that he kind of ignored the world around him sometimes, just for the sake of his experiments, or just for the sake of what he was doing. So there would be times where he'd be out and he would go out there and he'd be so busy trying to worry about whatever the particular experiment was. For example, once he got married to Sue, there'd be these moments where he would not be very thoughtful of the situations, and so he would do things sometimes that would end up risking their lives in the sake of these situations. So he wasn't always the most thoughtful husband in the world. When eventually he became, Mr. Fantastic, and he started, he married Sue. So one of the things I really wanted to do was kind of deal with the whole, try to come up with a way to be creative with the power set that he has. I've seen him do all sorts of stuff from like stretch into a ball, to protect his family. And one thing I always liked about the Fantastic Four, especially, was they really were a family in a sense. They really worked hard to keep that family dynamic going. So I thought that was always really cool to see it. But then also the fact that he was one of those people since. So I heard in a commentary track, I believe, for I want to say it might have been in Avengers Infinity War, they were talking about the fact that Marvel always had this thing towards science that, when you look at the story of Stan Lee and how he created a lot of the stuff in the world of Marvel, he was very science focused. And so, you had like Reed Richards, that was a scientist. Uh, you had Spider Man that was science minded. You had Tony Stark, who was science minded. You had all these people who are very science oriented. And so I never really thought about it that way, but it's so true that there are so many scientists. I mean, technically, Black Panther in Wakanda studied science. He did all sorts of scientific things in the comics. There are all these different people, and you just wouldn't, you just don't think about the fact that all these scientists are running around the universe of Marvel and how they kind of get along and different things like that. And so Reed was one of these scientists that was he a cool scientist, but more importantly, he was this guy who later became a very interesting husband, and more importantly, an interesting dad. We talked about with the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, Sue Richards, that he and Sue eventually had children. And so one of those children was Franklin Richards, and Franklin Richards somehow or another got these really awesome powers. And so he was like able to do all sorts of things that nobody else could have ever expected. I mean, to the point where he could rewrite the Marvel Universe in a lot of ways. So I always thought that was kind of cool and different to see. So I'm just kind of laying out the of Reed so that way I can get them out there and then ink them. So that's kind of the plan we're going with right now. So anyway, guys, I'm finishing up this series. I don't know really what I want to do next on the next one. I don't know what I want to do. So you guys let me know. I mean, you guys let me see what we can do doing other teams or other people and stuff like that. I just want to do something different with each drawing, so that way you can kind of see different styles and things like that. So if you're on and you're watching, comment, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. So that'd be awesome. And we're going to start the ink process here. This is going to be more of my cartoony attempt at Reed with this one. So I really wanted to work on getting him, get that kind of old. Yeah, one thing that I thought was cool too was that he looked like a little bit when I was a kid, and sitting there being amazed at the fact that he looked a lot older than a lot of other characters. He had the gray temples on his hair, so I thought that was really cool and neat to see. You got to see his hair and stuff. You got to see different things, and he would do the different. He would. Out his team do the stuff like stretching out his body and stuff like that. Although I know a lot of people talk about, well, Reed Richards just kind of like every other plastic superhero. For example, you got Elongated Man, who was in the latest season of the Flash TV show, and different things like that. And you got Plastic Man in the DC universe, and Reed was kind of that same model. I mean, but I think the thing that separates him really from the other two is his mind. He's a lot smarter than they are. He's seen interdimensional travel. He's created ultimate nullifiers to go up against Galactus, for crying out loud. So, I mean, the dude is definitely not. He doesn't have your typical mind when it comes to dealing with things. He's definitely different than, say, other people. So I find that Reed definitely works a little bit differently than other folks that are stretchy, so to speak. Just want to lay down some basics and to get the darks and stuff in the costume. Since my light source is going to come from this way, then I wanted to go ahead and make sure to get some of those little specks of light into the actual outfit. So it's kind of a plan. By the way, guys, in the comment section below, I'd love to hear, like I said, what you would like to see drawn in the future. That'd be cool if you want to chip in ideas for different drawings and things like that. That'd be great. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see what kind of stuff you want drawn in future live draws. As I plan out my stuff, of course, it helps because then that way I can see what you guys want to see drawn every week. I try to get back in the swing of things and get these live drawings up on a regular basis again. Rebuild and refocus. It's kind of what we do. Go ahead and get the 4 on there. So that's another important part of the outfit. So everybody rocks the 4. One of the things I found interesting too was that Reed was the one that created their suits. And one of the things that you notice if you've seen the movies, if you read the comics, you know that their suits all connect to their abilities. And so, for example, with Ben, his suit kind of I don't say his suit changes as much because Ben's always kind of like Ben. He's the only one that really doesn't get to transform in and out to look like a normal person. But whereas, like for example, when Johnny goes on fire, he flames on, his actual suit will go into flames as well. So he's not burning up a suit of clothing. He's actually just in a suit of clothing that will catch on fire with him. And so Reed created the whole thing of the unstable molecule so that suit would be able to adapt when Sue goes invisible. For example, the suit goes invisible with her, so she's just not Invisible Man in the old books. So her whole body will go invisible because the suit will go invisible with her. So I always thought that was interesting that he created, and I believe there shift whenever the molecules would shift, and they would shift with the person wearing the suit. So of course, I always wondered why he never made like the Hulk an unstable medical molecule suit. That way, whenever he would get bigger, his suit would stretch and grow. I always thought that was interesting that they didn't do that with the they didn't do that with the Hulk. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Reed always has kind of a bit of a squash and stretch to his body because, of course, with him being able to make his body squish and stretch as he needs to. I just thought that was neat. He kind of was like a living, breathing cartoon character because he could just squash and stretch. So I thought that was kind of neat. All right, we're going to get in the face and we're going to finish this up. And so we're just about done with that. And there we go. So that's Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Reed Richards. And guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me during these videos. I appreciate the opportunity to get some feedback from you guys and things like that. And like I said, I love to see more. So as you're out there, as you're watching this video, I would hope to hear from you and let me know what you want to see drawn next on the live draws. I've got some ideas in my head, but I'd really rather draw your ideas. So let me know. I appreciate it. And above all else, guys, do me a favor. Be blessed and be a blessing to somebody, guys. Till next time, take care.